Let me throw three numbers at you. $20 billion is how much money we spend on education in New Zealand every year. 60,000 is about the number of children born in this country. And if you divide one by the other, you find that we spend $330,000 on the lifetime of a New Zealander on their education. Now, I have no problem with that if it's a good investment, but too many children aren't engaged, aren't going, aren't learning, and in some cases would say that education actually did more harm than good going along to some of these institutions. Now, there's a way around this, and it works this way. I don't have a problem with funding through the taxpayer. You see, I think if you're born in this country or you legally immigrate here, then you actually have a right to a chance and some choices in life and a shot at realizing your dreams. No question. But it doesn't always mean that if the government funds an education, that it has to provide the education through one of its schools. In fact, we already let communities run their school to some extent with parent-elected boards, but often the Ministry of Education limits how much choice they really have. And that's where charter schools are different. Charter schools are schools that can be set up by a community. In some cases, they've been set up by iwi. In other cases, they've been set up by existing businesses. In other cases, they've been set up by community groups and former teachers frustrated with the system. But what they all have in common is they have some insight into the community about how to get kids better engaged, feeling better about themselves, learning some skills that turn into qualifications, that turn into careers, that turn into ultimately feeling good about themselves. There's been various examples. For example, the Vanguard Military School were a group of people that were training people in security and other professions, sort of paramilitary, but after they got to school and they realized so many of the people coming to them were so disillusioned with education, why couldn't they get to them younger? So they set up a school. It was actually in an old light industrial warehouse in Albany, Auckland. Not a normal place for a school, but the ethos of really good discipline, lots of military exercises and fatigue, great fitness, smaller class sizes with the money they saved elsewhere, and an attitude that actually got people engaged because they hired teachers, not all of them registered even. People who were ex-military who could connect with and engage these kids has changed children's lives for the better. And it's a very good example of taking the funding that would have gone to students in the state education system anyway and putting it into a charter school. Not the whole 330,000, some of that's early childhood, some of that is university or tech, and not all at once. It's only an amount per year, but it's the same amount that we would have put into a state school where the child might not have even been showing up. With charter schools, we contract them. We say, you do it your way, but we have to show that the children are showing up and achieving and that you have financial probity. And if you can innovate and do things differently so children can realize their potential, then good on you. We celebrate more diversity in our education system.